Right, today I want to talk a bit about Ethereum, whereby Ethereum rockets to 3K. So what's driving the surge and when will this whole thing last? The most important thing, right? So Ethereum's Ether, ticker ETH, has climbed to around 3,000, the highest in over 4 months, driven by a mix of strong investors' demand, large fund inflow, and growing optimism about US crypto regulations. Now, this rally is happening alongside Bitcoin's rise, but is now catching special attention. Okay, so last Thursday, BlackRock's iShares Ethereum Trust, ETHA, the largest US spot ETH fund, saw a record 300 million in inflows in a single day, pushing its total assets to 5.6 billion. Now, in total, the US listed Ethereum ETFs attracted about 703 million last week, marking the third largest weekly inflow since their launch last July. Now, the spike in price also coincided with an explosion in ETHA trading volume on Nasdaq, whereby over 43 million ETHA shares changed hands last Wednesday, the highest single-day volume since the fund's debut a year ago. Now, this surge in volume, right, has been building for weeks. The 30-day average ETHA volume rose to a record 18.83 million shares, up from 13 million in early June. Now, investors are not just trading, they are putting fresh money into the market. ETHA has received over 1.2 billion in inflows since June, including 159 million on last Tuesday alone, the biggest single-day inflow since June 11. Now, this consistent inflow shows strong bullish sentiment and accumulation. As a result, Ethereum's performance is starting to catch up with Bitcoin. Now, earlier in the year, Bitcoin led the crypto rally, but now Ethereum is closing the gap, rising over 5% recently and even outperforming Ripple and Solana. Now, looking into the options, Ethereum's rally is not just visible in its spot price, it's also reflected in options market. Traders have been positioning aggressively for further upside, with total open interest in the ETHA options climbing to the highest level in a year, showing very strong demand. Now, calls, for those who are not familiar with options, when we talk about calls, it's basically bullish bets in options now far outnumber the puts, which is the bearish bets, suggesting traders expect Ethereum price to keep rising. Now, looking at key expiry and strike price provides useful clues on market expectations. Here's a breakdown. So I am giving a list of the expiries, and then you can see, get an understanding of the general sentiment of the market. Are there more buyers or are there more sellers, right? So the 22nd strike price, which translates to roughly 3,000 Ethereum, price of 3,000 of Ethereum, shows heavy open interest on calls, meaning traders expect Ethereum to hold at or above this level very soon. Now, there's also growing interest at strikes above 22, including at 23 and 24, showing confidence that Ethereum might push even higher this week. Now, all these are ETHA prices, yeah? Now, lower strikes such as 2021 have substantial open interest too, but many of these are now in the money, meaning in profit due to the rise, Ethereum's rise. So whenever they buy the calls, right, that now people they buy, now they are deep in the money, they're having profits. Whatever they bet upon Ethereum to rise, they are making right now. So this also suggests those positions are turning profitable and reinforcing support around 2640 and 2800 area, right? Overall, for this expiry, the balance of bets suggests strong near-term support around 3,000 and targets as high as 3,002 if momentum continues. Okay, so this is the 18th July expiry. Now, what about the 25th July expiry, which is 12 days from now, right? So the same concentration around the 22nd and 23rd strikes is visible for this expiry, with open interest favoring calls over puts, confirming that traders remain bullish over the next 2 weeks. Now, the traders also positioning above 24 with smaller but rising open interest at 25 and 26 strikes, which suggests some traders are betting Ethereum will stretch higher in late July. Now, puts remain lighter and concentrated below 21, indicating less appetite for downside protection. Now, this suggests participants expect Ethereum to trade at or above 3,000 in late July, with upside speculation towards 3,003. Now, for the 1st August expiry, which is 19 days, call open interest at 22 remains prominent, with additional build up at 23 and 24 strikes. Interest at 25 strikes is increasing for this longer dated expiry, showing that some traders are positioning for a medium-term move toward 3,300. Now, put open interest below 21 is smaller, showing traders don't seem to expect sharp downside before early August, okay? The skew remains clearly tilted towards bullish bets for this expiry too, suggesting traders expect Ethereum strength to persist into early August, okay? And lastly, the just a dip into the August a bit more, which is the 8th of August, 26 days to expiry. Similar patterns with dominant call open interest at 22 to 24 strikes tapering off, but still present a higher levels. Less interest in downside puts reinforce overall bullish sentiment for Ethereum over a 1-month horizon. The balance of positions suggests market participants see Ethereum holding above 3,000 and possibly advancing towards 3,003 or beyond by mid-August. You can see basically every single expiry is showing that position right now, where the bottom, the support is, and where the resistance is for the for Ethereum. But all this can change with the coming news, which is the regulatory tailwinds, the crypto what we call the crypto week legislations. Now, another major tailwind supporting crypto markets, including Ethereum, is improving sentiment around US regulatory clarity. Traders are watching what has been called Crypto Week in Washington, a series of moves by Congress aimed at setting clearer rules for digital assets. So starting the 14th of July, which is today, the US House of Representatives is scheduled to debate 3 pro-crypto bills with bipartisan support that could mark a major turning point for the industry. Okay, so it's happening in a couple of hours, right? So it's good to dive in a bit just to understand what these 3 bills are talking about. The first one is what we call the Asset Market Clarity Act. It's a comprehensive bill that defines how to classify digital assets as either securities or commodities and clarifies the role of the SEC and CFTC in crypto regulation. This act would give the CFTC exclusive regulatory jurisdiction over crypto trading and set guidelines for when token offerings are exempt from SEC registration, such as for mature decentralized projects. Okay. Now, the goal is to replace the outdated Howey test approach with a framework tailored for crypto. The Clarity Act is expected to get a House vote during Crypto Week, and while it still needs Senate approval afterwards, its progress is already seen as very positive for the US crypto landscape. Next is the Guiding and Establishing National Innovation in Stablecoin Act, or Genius Act. It sets out a long-awaited stablecoin regulatory regime. This bipartisan bill, already passed by the Senate in June, would require one-to-one reserve backing and monthly disclosure for stablecoin issuers, set licensing requirements, and bring issuers under Bank Secrecy Act compliance. Okay? So in short, it would legitimize stablecoins under federal law and help integrate them safely into the financial system. The Genius Act is considered the most important, I repeat, the most important of the three bills, and it is expected to pass the House easily, with President Trump pledging to sign it into law. Legal clarity for stablecoins, which are key part of crypto liquidity, has given investors confidence and could drive more institutional and mainstream adoption of crypto payments. Okay? And lastly, we have the Anti-CBDC Surveillance State Act. It's a proposal to bar the US Fed from issuing a central bank digital currency without congressional approval. Supporters cite privacy and financial freedom concerns, seeking to ensure that the US government cannot launch a digital dollar that might compete with or suppress private crypto. While more politically charged, this bill aligns with the desire of many in the crypto space to limit government's control and favor open blockchain network. The House is also expected to vote on this bill during Crypto Week. Now, together, these bills represent the most significant crypto legislative effort in US history. Industry advocates have been actively lobbying, including Coinbase Stand with Crypto campaign, which rallied support for the Clarity Act. The fact that Congress is now actively engaging on crypto policy after years of uncertainty has lifted market sentiment. Even if final passage of all bills is delayed, the fact that lawmakers are seriously debating crypto rules is seen as a positive. Now, investors appear to be buying the rumor of upcoming policy wins, helping push Bitcoin to new highs and lifting Ether and other assets in anticipation of a friendlier regulatory environment. Now, President Trump's public support, calling himself the crypto president and pledging to sign the stable Bitcoin, adds to the sense that the US regulatory tide is turning in favor of crypto. This outlook for greater clarity and legitimacy has provided a strong tailwind for Ethereum's current rally. So, I think the most important question is, will the rally last? Okay, factors to watch for Ethereum. Now, the key question for investors is whether Ethereum's recent surge is sustainable or a short-lived spike. Several factors suggest the uptrend could have staying power. Institutional inflows have been steady, not a one-off, indicating real demand backing the move. Now, if the momentum in ETF buying and trading volume persists for Ethereum, it provides ongoing support. Likewise, the regulatory developments appear positive, and actual passage of any major crypto law would likely further boost confidence. Now, Ethereum's network fundamentals, like its transition to proof of stake and reduce new supply, also give long-term tailwinds that can attract investors during bullish period. However, a note of caution is warranted. Not everything is just bullish. Some analysts warn that the excitement may be getting ahead of itself. CT's strategy team, for instance, argued that comparisons of crypto to digital gold are likely premature, cautioning that hype could be outpacing reality. Now, rapid price run-ups can invite volatility, which means the risk of a short-term pullback still exists, even if the medium-term outlook is optimistic. The crypto market has a history of corrections, especially if traders who pile into leverage longs or call options start taking profits, or if external news, example macroeconomic shift or a bill failing to pass disappoints expectations. Now, these are the things, all these are the tailwinds. Okay, so from a technical perspective, Ethereum faces resistance around its recent peak, which is 3000 to 3001, which coincides with levels where rallies faded a few months ago. If Ethereum decisively clear this zone on high volume, it could open doors to further upside, which the next psychological target around 3500. Okay, so it has to clear. Right now there is support, that's a good thing, but don't forget it is trading at the support based on the options data. But we need to see, are there any the passing of the bill. Right now everything is bullish, but if we do not have that passing, the Ethereum can drop. Okay, on the downside, the high open interest rate, open interest at lower strikes like 20 suggests strong support around 2006 to 2007 Ethereum, as many investors build positions there. As long as Ethereum stays above those support levels and new buyers continue to step in, bulls may remain in control. So in summary, Ethereum's climb to 3,000 has been underpinned by tangible tailwinds like rising institution inflows, improving sentiment, and potential regulatory breakthroughs. Now, these factors distinguish the move from mere speculation frenzy and could indeed carry Ethereum higher if they continue. Yet traders should remain vigilant. Should ETF flows dry up or crypto week reforms hit roadblocks, market enthusiasm could quickly cool off. Okay, so as always in crypto, momentum can shift rapidly from now through the second for for now though, the second largest cryptocurrency is enjoying a renaissance of interest, and cautious optimism abounds that this time the rally has a firmer foundation even if some bumps lie ahead. Okay, so hopefully everything turns out well in the negotiations, and as long as the Ethereum stays at the 3,000 level, that's a positive sign. With that, that's the report for today.